Mr. Kennedy, you have compared the CDC's work to Nazi death camps. You've compared it to sexual abusers in the Catholic Church. You've also said that many of them belong, this is a direct quote, many of them belong in jail. For me, those are disturbing characterizations of the CDC workers that I know who are trying to keep the American public safe every single day. And
we currently are experiencing an outbreak of tuberculosis, of measles, of bird flu, and out in the West, we're bringing polio back as well. But no, yeah, let's get rid of the department of the government that helps protect us from these deadly diseases that used to kill you by the time you were the ripe age of 40. Not only are we getting rid of the department of the government that helps protect us from deadly diseases in a time where they're rampantly spreading, but we are demonizing the very people who work for those establishments.
Mr. President, here are excerpts from a letter I received today from a constituent. Quote, "Good afternoon, Senator Ossoff. I write to you today with a heavy heart and a profound sense of concern. After decades of dedicated service to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, working under both Republican and Democratic administrations to improve vaccine uptake, advance health equity, and fight the disparities that have long plagued underserved communities, I now find myself facing an alarming and deeply troubling situation." My constituent continues, quote, "This morning I was placed on the DEI watch list website and publicly identified as a target. Compounding this distressing reality, my personal and internal CDC-related information has been exposed on a public website, placing me in immediate danger. I have since received unexpected deliveries to my home, and my personal information is now in the hands of individuals aligned with the views of the current administration, individuals whose intentions I cannot discern, but whose actions are already proving to be invasive and threatening."
There has been a website published that is a DEI watch list of DEI hires in the federal government that originally listed them as targets. Use the word target was right on top. It posted their name, it posted their photo, it posted salary information, any information having to do with their work. It was posted and publicly available, including listing what it called DEI offenses, which included working on diversity, equity and inclusion initiatives, donating to a Democrat, or using pronouns in their bio. These are people trying to protect Americans at large from getting the consumption, and their information is being just posted publicly on a website that originally listed them as a target, which has apparently since been changed to dossier, but woohoo, they were literally labeled as targets. I mean, these people who work in public health are canceling employee potlucks for fear that it'll be seen as promoting diversity, and they'll be fired, and then there will be no one to help push forward public health initiatives to protect the American people at large. And comparing the CDC to sexual abusers in the Catholic Church or Nazi death camps is certainly not helping. And before you say, he didn't say that, he said he never said that, there's proof. Hang on. There's proof that he said that.
Senator, I don't believe that I ever compared the CDC to Nazi death camps. I support the CDC. My job is not to dismantle or harm the CDC.
so you retract those statements?
I'm not retracting it. I never said it.
Well, actually, I have a transcript
Of me saying that it's a Nazi death camp?
Let me read your words. It says that the institution CDC and the vaccine program, is your description of their work, is more important than the children that it's supposed to protect. And you know, it's the same reason we had a pedophile scandal in the Catholic Church. It's because people were able to convince themselves that the institution of the church was more important than these little boys and girls who were being raped. That's pretty provocative language. You said in another statement to me, this is like Nazi death camp. I mean,
In another-
let me finish. I'm just reading your words. I mean, what happened to these kids? 1 in 31 boys in this country, their minds are being robbed from them.
Yeah, I was not comparing the CDC to Nazi death camps.
He said it, though. He said it. They had a transcript of it. This is like when he said, I never said vaccines weren't safe and effective. And then they had to pull up a video clip of him saying, vaccines are not safe and effective. You said it. You already said it. You can't backtrack. I'm showing it. I'm looking at it, Robert. I'm looking at you saying it. He also said he was going to fire every nutritional scientist in the FDA on day one because every single one of them was corrupt.
So we're going to change the personnel at the agencies. We're gonna fire on day one, or if you can't fire them, we can ship them to a new HHS headquarters in Guam. every nutritional scientist at FDA, because all of them are corrupt. And all of them are complicit in the poisoning of our children.
So why is he demonizing the CDC? Why is he demonizing the FDA? He is so bought into the power that he's going to get from this administration that I can't be certain that he really believes the things that he's saying, that he really believes vaccines aren't safe to take, that he really believes that vaccines cause autism, that he really believes that every single member of the FDA is corrupt. And who better to explain this concept of why something like this could happen than old RFK Jr. himself?
What happens when corporations take control of government? The first thing and the only thing they do is plunder. That is their whole objective. And, you know, we saw this during the fascist years in Europe. And when those leaders and Franco took power, the first thing they did is put industrialists in charge of the ministries. You know, Hitler was a right-wing, you know, Christian fundamentalist fascist who was absolutely, and his group was absolutely off the radar, political radar screen. People considered them nuts and, you know, and completely incapable of ever taking power. But they made these unholy alliances with industry money that started pouring money into their movements and gave them a political foothold. And when that took purchase and they got political power, they paid back industry by putting the industrialists in charge of all of the ministries. And what did they do? They enriched themselves by mounting small wars, taking no-bid contracts, and privatizing the commons. And this particular government is the government that we have here in this country today, is a government of plunder.
They plunder for profit, for self-profit. They plunder for greed. And apparently, even if you're aware of this and you think that it's gross, like he used to, apparently when it's offered to you directly and you're not strong of self, you'll just fall right into it and be like, money, power? Yeah, sure. The CDC is corrupt. Everyone get tuberculosis. Autism comes from vaccines. Terrible. Don't just let your kids get polio instead.